It's heading northeast towards Peatone and Beecher. So if you live in Peatone or Beecher, this storm is headed your direction. This is going to be west of Grant Park. Grant Park is not included in this warning, but again, as far as location goes, it is just west or headed right towards downtown Manteno. This is north of Bourbonnais. And then even further south with that second one, as we head into southwestern Kankakee County, that rotation is right between Campus and Emmington, just west of Cabery, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But included in that warning box is going to be Union Hill, Reddick, Herscher, headed towards Bonfield. This is going to be west of Stell and west of Irwin. So those are those two warnings that are on top of each other, which Mark is showing right now, that location of rotation. So that's where the two focuses will be. So it's going to be, again, near Manteno in northern Kankakee County. And then as we head down towards the second one, it's between Campus and Emmington, south of Reddick, west of Cabery. That's going to be where the rotation is for our second tornado warning. We have two in the viewing area currently, one in line with the other. We have rotation indicated on radar, but also spotter indicated rotation. I haven't heard of a funnel on the ground reported just yet, but they're both moving northeast at around 35 miles per hour.
And we have the team here together. Mike Kaplan is on the line, so let's bring him in if we can here and get his perspective. Let's get his perspective as soon as we can. Again, this has been quite the day with tornado after tornado report and funnel cloud, all again along this very narrow line, right along Interstate 55 and off to the east. We still have that tornado watch that is in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. And not only has these storms been producing some potentially dangerous tornadoes. Of course, all tornadoes are potentially dangerous, but it's also been dropping some heavy rainfall. Caitlin, between 1, 2, and 3 inches, not uncommon in this area here. And this is an area that's already seen a couple of inches of rainfall.
Absolutely. I think flooding is going to be a big concern with all of these storms moving through. As far as reports go so far for today, we've only seen a couple down tree reports, maybe 3 inches in diameter. We had flooding reports from Lakeshore Drive in Chicago from earlier rainfall. And along this line of storms, I expect damage reports, especially because with any severe thunderstorm warning, which we have been seeing numerous severe thunderstorm warnings pushing into northwest Indiana especially, but even locations like Kankakee and Will County, we've had winds up to 60 miles per hour, which can also do damage. So you don't necessarily need a tornado in your area. But this has been something we've been watching all afternoon, as Mark mentioned. And these two particular tornado warnings, we're seeing pretty clear rotation on radar. We could, I guess you have them popped up there. If you want to zoom in on a couple of the towns, I can shout out where I see the rotation. First, on that northern warning area, it looks like that rotation is moving just north of Manteno at this point. Included, though, in its path is going to be Peatone and Beecher as it moves northeast. Now, as we zoom on out, the storm to the south, that rotation currently is going to be over Campus. This is going to be in just outside of Kankakee County, southwest Kankakee County, where we have that second area of rotation.
Here we go, right here.
From Campus to Emmington. Yes, and it's headed right towards Herscher and Reddick. If you live in those communities, get in your safe place. I'm sure your phones are going off in those locations too, which is helpful. But unfortunately, even up the line, north of Kankakee, where you have that warning now, from Peatone to north of Manteno, where I said that very clear couplet is located, you're going to have the potential for another tornado in its path as we have those two warnings right on top of each other.
Yeah, they seem to be just lining up perfectly here this late afternoon. And, you know, we will not really be rid of this entire setup, this tornadic setup, until we get rid of some of the daytime heating a little later on today. Caitlin, and fortunately, it looks like we will catch a bit of a break coming up tomorrow. It looks like we have a little pause, but boy, as we go through the afternoon and the evening tonight, we still are seeing these little tornadoes pop up. Here we go. Let's go down here. This is the Campus area. You can see the couplet there, right there, where winds are flowing very different directions. And
Yep.
this is what we're talking about right here, this very area.
Yes, that's exactly right. And actually, in that same spot where we have that warning in place, we just had a severe thunderstorm warning issued. So that's going to be including southeastern Livingston County, but it does push north towards our viewing area due to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's actually the strongest wind speeds that I've seen associated with the severe thunderstorm warning that we've had today. So, of course, that tornado possible, but as well, outside of that, the potential for 60 to 70-mile-per-hour wind speed. So this is going to be a dangerous thunderstorm with damaging winds expected in that spot.
Yeah, we've had a lot
not
of
only in that localized location,
We've
but
had a lot
around.
of 60-mile-per-hour winds throughout the afternoon, but you're right, Caitlin, up to 70 miles per hour. And here we are zoomed in right to where we're seeing this tornadic wind. It is right on Route 57, right there at Manteno. If you're in Manteno, you definitely want to be hitting the basement now. You want to be inside, away from all the windows. You know the drill. You do not want to be outside. You want to be inside in an interior windowless room. So we have a couple of different
Absolutely.
potential tornadoes here this afternoon.
Go ahead.
Nope, all set.
As you said, it's right over the highway currently, so a very dangerous spot for that tornado rotation to be. I wish we had information about if somebody has spotted this tornado on the ground. I can see that couplet is very clear.
Yeah.
On my sweeping radar, it is just over, is that Highway 57?
Yeah, that's Interstate 57.
And it's quickly moving east-northeast, so those in its path would be Peatone and even Beecher included in this. So
Yeah.
if you have family, friends in that spot, make sure that they are aware that there is that tornado warning in place, because just looking at the radar, that is a pretty strong couplet there.
Yeah,
Maybe we
this
could
is-
get that gate-to-gate velocity.
This is exactly what we're looking at here. As we head up towards Peatone, and then here we have Beecher a little further over to the right along Illinois Highway 1. So this whole area here is definitely in the crosshairs. All right, let's go over to Mike Kaplan and see if we can get you dialed in. My friend, how you doing?
Let's hope so.
It sounds like you're loud and clear.
Man, I've been listening to you guys here, and, obviously this is a dangerous situation with repeat thunderstorms that are producing tornadoes in this same corridor. And, you guys are correct. Caitlin's been identifying right where the center of circulation is, and folks need to take these storms seriously. A lot of these tornadoes have been kind of brief and spin up in nature, but this can put down damage in a very short period of time. So please, folks, if you are in that I-55 corridor and, a little bit east of there, get to a place of safety or be prepared to get to a place of safety.
Yeah, and to have a couple of these systems, again, like you said, they're kind of back to back. They're on the heels of one another. So it's a situation where you really can't let your guard down. They're all kind of flowing in the same general direction. Let's take you back down to the campus area here, back into kind of what we call southwestern Kankakee County. Doesn't look quite as strong, so I'm going to pull you right back up here, because we're looking at basically the center of these winds right here. Now, almost smack dab in between Manteno and Peatone at this point.
So the good news is, too, if you zoom on out, we had those two warnings that we've been discussing. There was actually a third one just south of our viewing area in Livingston, but luckily that has actually expired. So I'm with you. It appears as though the strongest rotation is definitely going to be that northern tornado warning from Peatone to Manteno. The one further south, I see a little bit of rotation there near campus in Cabaret, but I think north of Emmington. But I think that the one of bigger concern, as you mentioned before, is the one that's just moving east of I-57.
And of course, traveling along the interstate is problematic as well as we go this evening, as this system looks like it's crossing right over. And even if it's lifted up into the atmosphere, still some issues with visibility. You're going to have just torrential downpours here.
I'm glad that you're putting on radar, because as I'm looking at mine, maybe we could stop it in motion. I'm seeing a hook there.
It really
very
appears
clearly
so.
on my radar, so maybe we could pause it.
Right here is exactly what Caitlin's talking about. Yeah,
That hook just south of Peatone.
This looks like a very dangerous storm system here, at least from what we're seeing here on radar here this evening. this late afternoon. 4:18 in the afternoon. Again, this storm system is moving off to the north-northeast at between 25 and 30 miles per hour and heading up probably, I'm going to guess, probably kind of south end of Peatone towards Peatone and then eventually over towards Beecher.
I'm actually getting reports in too of one of our trained spotters. He's a tornado chaser in the area, but he has just posted a picture 1 minute ago, and it says that the circulation is completely rain wrapped, which is a problem because that makes it difficult to see. So that's going to be for the Manteno area. So not only are we seeing that hook in the radar signature, we're seeing a clear indication on velocity of the ingoing and outgoing winds. And also now we know that there's going to be a lot of rain with this, which is an issue when we have heavy rain and tornadoes. It's hard to spot where that tornado could actually be on the ground. And even from this trained spotter, he says he can't see the tornado there, but because of the rain coming down so hard, it's rain wrapped.
And that it becomes one of the problems, and that's why we advise you to head underground if you have a basement.
Yeah, Peatone, you guys,
Absolutely.
it's Mike back in here. I'm looking at the differential reflectivity here, which is one of our dual polarization products, and it is now showing a very strong tornado signature right over the Peatone area, which more or less, corresponds with the hook that Caitlin has been describing, with that intense gate-to-gate shear that you point out when you show the velocity data. This is by far, I think, the strongest looking rotation that we've had in any of the tornado warned cells that we've been talking about all afternoon. This one is, I think, this one is a very dangerous storm. If you're in Peatone, maybe even as far east as Beecher, be prepared to get to, if you're in Peatone, you got to be in that place of safety now. Your lowest level of the building, get under something sturdy. I've always told people here in the past couple of years, if you got a bicycle helmet, do you go rollerblading, put a helmet on. Make sure that you have shoes on. Take your cell phone with you. Heaven forbid you need these things, but we're dealing with a tornado in the Peatone area, and any of you folks there in far southern Will County really need to take this storm seriously, because this looks like by far the strongest tornado that we've had today.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. We've had numerous tornado warnings, and we've had some tornadoes that have actually touched down today, but this has by far the strongest signature that we've seen so far. And as Caitlin was saying, this system being rain wrapped, if you're in the Peatone or the Manteno area, this is not something you're going to see coming at you from a couple of miles away. It's actually going to be camouflaged behind that rain, which makes it all the more dangerous.
Yeah, I've been tracking this.
You guys
with,
have
the storm trainers, as I mentioned, those storm chasers and forecasters that are watching this particular storm. And the latest update I had was from 1 minute ago, and still the amount of rain that's coming out of this storm is making it impossible for him to spot. Now, I will say, from the photo, it appears as though he's in a rural area. So this tornado may be just over a field, which would be great news. He is at a distance, though, at this time, but I do see just a ton of rain. But just from the radar and the velocity, as Mike and Mark have mentioned, I believe that this is a strong tornado that is rolling through just east of Peatone. And just to remind you, too, who is included in this tornado warning is Beecher. I expect that they're going to expand this to cover Monee and Crete. And we'll be watching as this particular cell approaches that Indiana border. So where we had that warning not too long ago, in locations like St. John up to Merrillville, you are in the general path of where this thunderstorm could be rolling towards, or even further north near Lansing or Calumet City. So this is down the road, but just I want you guys to be weather aware along that Indiana border as well, as the system continues its path to the northeast. So right now, right over Peatone, I almost can see on the radar potential hail. Maybe we could get that hail indicator on our radar up, because the reflections that I'm seeing here are pretty bright with this. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's take a look here.
Or
Yeah, I'm
debris
seeing a
ball,
little
I
bit of
should say.
small hail north of Peatone. There's actually, I think there's some better hail showing up on that cell near Emmington and Campus, and also Union Hill there in far western Kankakee County. I'm just seeing a little bit of hail currently in the Peatone area. But that, that's certainly a concern. But here's the thing: you go down this line. There's another tornado warning way down there in DeWitt County by Clinton. This has just been a prolific line, and it is showing very little eastward translation. Everything is almost moving parallel to the storm that precedes it, and the tornado watch is set to expire. It's one of the narrowest tornado watch boxes I've ever seen.
True.
But the tornado watch is set to expire at 7 o'clock. But this environment is certainly still going gangbusters here, and we'll have to see whether maybe they extend that. Hopefully not. But this has been, I think, well handled by the Storm Prediction Center. They nailed this thing when the tornado watch came out, and we have got so many tornado warnings today, but this one that is coming east of Peatone headed right towards Beecher. Please, folks in the Beecher area, get to that place of safety now. And as Caitlin was saying, since this appears to be a more vigorous tornado than the ones that have occurred before it, this may indeed cross the state line. And just kind of looking at the trajectory that this would take, if you're in St. John, maybe Cedar Lake and Crown Point, be prepared for rapidly changing weather conditions. The fact that spotters are saying that this is rain wrapped, like Caitlin pointed out, it's not like you're going to look off to the southwest and say, hey, honey, I think that's a tornado coming. All you're going to see is dark gray clouds, heavy rainfall, and then all of a sudden trees are going to be going sideways. So those of you in parts of Lake County, Indiana, be prepared to get to a place of safety on very short notice with this storm headed your way.
Yeah, and you're right, Mike. I'm just checking some of the hail tracks here, and not a lot of hail with that system here. Not seeing a lot of hail, as we've not seen. Let me check some of the lightning with this system. A little bit, but you know what? We have not seen a lot of the lightning with this system. As we've seen in other.
It's been kind of remarkable, and it looks like a new tornado warning out now in parts of Livingston County. This one just issued for southeastern Livingston and central Ford County. We have folks that are watching in the Fairbury, Forest, and Paxton areas. While it's not technically in Chicagoland, if you're in Chatsworth, Piper City, here's another tornado warning that has come out. So right now we have 4 tornado warned cells on this line that goes all the way south of Springfield. Remarkable.
Yeah, and continues all the way north into
which, as
Michigan.
you said, right, and the problem is that they are moving northeast, so they're moving quite quick at 45 miles per hour, but it's almost northeast. In my opinion, as you put that loop on, it's moving in that direct same path, so hardly making any movement to the east. We do have another tornado warning that's Peatone. Okay, I just got another notification near Beecher, so I guess that's the same one.
And look at this, has been extended.
30 miles per hour.
You're right, has been extended across the state line, just as you were talking about.
Yep, until 5 p.m.
Yep.
So that's going to be another 30 minutes that is in effect. Okay, so we have that rotation. Obviously, we've been talking about the appendage that has been coming off of this particular cell with the potential very strong tornado with it, and I'm just checking in to see. Yeah, it's that same trained spotter that's watching this exact storm, and he's posting photos on Twitter, and you can clearly see the wall cloud. The structure of this storm is pretty spectacular. But he is in the country, so hopefully.
Who is that
this
chaser?
Isn't over a very busy location.
Who's that chaser, Caitlin?
Which
chaser is on that?
Bob Wazak.
Okay. All right.
Northern Illinois Weather Reports. So I've been retweeting his photos, so you should be able to check in with his reports. I know the National Weather Service is in touch with him too, getting his latest reports for what he's seeing there in person, because of course that makes such a big difference.
Caitlin, describe just a little bit about the photograph that you've seen. There's a wall cloud, which is a large rotating cloud around where thunderstorms, where tornadoes often propagate from. Do you see anything coming out of that wall cloud there in the photograph?
the problem is of how much rain is coming out of
Yeah.
this storm. As he mentioned in his description, he says that he can clearly see the impressive rotating wall cloud, but the actual tornado coming out of that wall cloud, I can't spot it on his photo. It's just very dark in the distance. But I will say I don't see any buildings. I just see fields where he's located. But as far as the tornado actually coming out of the cloud, I don't see it. I did want to mention that the tornado warning has expired for Kankakee and Livingston County. I'm assuming that's just the one that was up the line.
Well, and the
down the line, I
word
should
from the
say.
National Weather Service is you guys have been indicating that rotation east of Piatone, along with that reflective appendage, that little part that's sticking out on radar, has prompted them to give this additional warning here this afternoon. So again, a very active
It has
storm.
extended. You're right, Mark. It has extended into Sherrillville, St. John, now including Merrillville and Lake County, Indiana, Highland, Chicago Heights, Crete, and this is heading up towards Calumet City. So as expected, as we said, the storm looks to be strong enough to be concerning that it may cross over that Indiana line and push on into those communities that had that tornado warning not too long ago. I'm in Cedar Lake right now, so
You're on the receiving end of this.
I was outside not too long ago. It was pretty sunny outside, so that's going to add to the instability and perhaps juice up this storm
Well, I think,
even more.
Caitlin, looks like where you are, you're probably just south of where the worst of that storm is going to be. I'd be interested to, maybe if you step out in about 10 minutes, if it's safe to do so, take a look. You've mentioned that it's rain wrapped, so I doubt you're going to get much of a view, but maybe the winds will pick up. You might be able to even give us kind of a ground report there from your location. What's kind of noteworthy about these storms, a lot of times when we have tornado warnings, they are from what we call discrete cells. You'll look at a radar map, and here will be a big thunderstorm over County X. And then there's 100 miles, and then here's a big thunderstorm over County Z. And then here's that's usually the sort of environment where you get these single supercell thunderstorms that are producing tornadoes on a scattered basis. To have this kind of linear setup where we have had numerous actual tornadoes, at least rotation detected enough that we need to warn for tornadoes, to have this in more of a linear mode, this is kind of an interesting situation. And you can get oftentimes brief spin-up tornadoes when you have a squall line coming through, but this is one of the more unusual, I'll call it a tornado outbreak. It's not technically an outbreak, really. You need more numbers than what we've had, but to have had this many tornadoes kind of coming in the exact same line is rather surprising to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. This
I
line has
agree.
not moved a whole lot. And again, it stretches all the way from the northeast out across the lake, all the way down at one point down in the Missouri. And you could just see, in fact, right here, you can see the tornado warnings up in south central Michigan. We had tornadoes warnings earlier down towards just around the St. Louis area, all lined up pretty much. You could just pencil a line right across there.
And
and look at the heavy rain that has come back into parts of the city, especially south side.
Yeah.
And even the west side. Look, there's no warnings for the city, but it is pouring downtown, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and typically we have, after the thunderstorms move through, the environment stabilizes again. So that's what we mean by when we say domino effect. If we have a thunderstorm in the area or scattered throughout our viewing area, sometimes after that point, it kind of drains the atmosphere of the energy that we need, but we have so much moisture and heat that these thunderstorms are just continuing along the same path. We had a tornado warning in this exact same spot near Crete a couple hours ago. And now we have a storm just as strong, stronger, moving right towards Crete with the potential for a strong tornado. So I think it's a good time to repeat the communities that are under this tornado warning. So again, that rotation is going to be just north of Beecher. I'm watching the velocity data. It's very strong still. This couplet, we've been seeing these winds come together. This is going to be south of Crete. It's moving northeast. So included in this warning is going to be St. John. Again, a very densely populated suburb there in Lake County, Indiana. Sherrillville, Linwood, Sauk Village. I'm going to call out Highland and Merrillville as well. Because it's in that general path, so depending on where this storm actually goes, if it continues on that same northeast path, It may move on into Highland or even Hammond. But we'll watch how long this couplet can hold together. So if you have friends or family in that area, again, I know it's a very densely populated spot. And it's a Saturday. People are going to be out and about. And like I said, it was sunny not too long ago. We have these scattered thunderstorms, but you can't let your guard down because we could have these storms at least for the next hour and a half, but even until the sun goes down, the potential for thunderstorms in our area.
Well, and Caitlin, you pointed out that it was sunny there just a little bit ago, and many areas, especially downtown, have not seen much sunshine today. So as the sun comes out, it kind of bakes up the atmosphere, and as you pointed out also, you're rolling, this storm system is rolling right across where we already had a tornado just, I think, a couple of short hours ago.
I'm going to mention, too, I just had a report out of Beecher in Will County. A train spotter is seeing a funnel cloud at Goodnow and Ashland. So I guess that would be that warning that's further south. Or actually, I guess it wouldn't. Yeah, maybe that is that warning.
It's right there, same one, right there with right in that same vicinity. In fact,
so they're seeing now a funnel cloud with it.
As we take you just briefly down to the south, I'll show you what is to come here, and you can see that we do have an additional warning that's down kind of just north of Gibson City along Illinois Highway 47, kind of northward, back up towards Ford County, down towards Dwight. But that's, again, a little bit outside of our immediate viewing area. And then the system that we're watching right now, the warning right here, heading into St. John's, and that is that same area that you mentioned with Goodnow and around Beecher.
Yeah, I can see, I'm in the basement right now, so
Good
I'm
place.
just south of St. John, maybe 10 minutes. But from what I'm seeing just from down here through the little window I have, it looks just cloudy at this point. It would be hard for me to see exactly. Well, I mean, it's still quite far off. I did look earlier this afternoon, and the skies just look dark in that general direction. I just got a report that alarms are ringing in Lansing at this time. So these tornado warning sirens are going to start going off.
Yeah, they're at that northwest corner of the tornado warning area, Lansing, kind of Glenwood and Hammond, right at the very edge of where that tornado is likely to pass. But this is still a very strong radar signature of a tornado, and Crete, Willowbrook, please be in a place of safety right now. Don't wait to see this before you act, because it is rain wrapped. Very difficult to see. You won't know it's there until it's there.
And at 4:36, Crete Fire Department Chief confirming a funnel. Of course, we know that is there, confirming a funnel. Also, something that you had mentioned before, train spotters show an increasingly strong low-level rotation near Goodnow. 2 spotters there reported a funnel cloud there as well. So we have multiple independent confirmations of a funnel cloud there.
Trying to see, is that highway right? Is that 394 where this rotation is moving right over?
Yes.
394 is a very busy road. People heading into Chicago, they could be taking this 394 through Crete. It's moving right over 394 as we speak, which out that way, I believe it's mostly, maybe there's a neighborhoods or a couple communities, but I know that is a very busy stretch of road, especially for people trying to get from Northwest Indiana into Chicago. So hopefully everyone is
for you guys in this neighborhood, this is at least round 2. Am I correct in that? Round 2 with
you are.
It's
over Crete. Yep. Yeah, so it looks like this is shortly going to be crossing over that Indiana state line, heading towards Dyer and St. John, Sherrillville, heading up towards Linwood. It looks like it might perhaps miss Cedar Lake. I'm tempted to go outside and go take a peek at what I can see, but I'd have to leave you guys. I could come back.
And we
would give you 2 minutes to go do that.
Yeah, we have.
But
I do
obviously,
want to say, too. Go ahead.
I do want to say,
Go ahead.
I do want to say, too,
Go ahead.
Okay, what I was simply going to say is, when we talk about Caitlin's going to go out and take a look, that is certainly contrary to what we tell people to do in a tornado threatened environment. But the expectation here is that Caitlin would be using her expertise and her prudence and not risking life and limb in order to get a look at something or take a picture of something.
No. I'm very far.
Yeah. You're far enough away from that. You should be in good shape. But obviously we're not trying to encourage people to go to the window. This is something for Caitlin to do as a trained storm spotter and to see if she sees anything, even any kind of rotational aspect at all. But the Willowbrook, St. John's, Sherrillville, you guys are right in the teeth of this thing within about the next 15-20 minutes as this thing races off. Are we still talking about roughly 40 miles per hour on the movement of this one, Mark?
Looks like we're slightly less. I have not got a good reading on that here in the last
35
few minutes.
miles per hour.
35. And also
35.
In from the National Weather Service.
Go ahead.
Storm report 1 mile west of Goodnow. That's in Will County. Train spotter. They're reporting a funnel cloud here as well. So numerous reports of a rotating funnel cloud. This is now north of Beecher.
It's kind of sad. Obviously, anytime in a tornado, it's sad. But we had gone essentially 6.5 months into the year without any kind of real organized severe weather. We hadn't even had a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch. We had a couple of isolated warnings, and now here in the past week and a half, it's kind of like we're making up for lost time here with all of these warnings coming out. And you have to hope that folks, I think they did a really good job last week. There was damage. We had a handful of injuries. Thankfully, no loss of life. I really think people took the storm seriously, in spite of the fact there may have been some complacency. Hey, we haven't had any bad weather in a long time. It's safe to be outside. I certainly hope that that's the case here today with folks that we've been talking about all week long. Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast every single day, and mentioning the risk of severe weather. So on a weekend, obviously, folks are outside more. We just hope that maybe the fact that it's been raining all day, people are inside and staying safe in the face of these just repeat rounds of intense thunderstorms and tornadoes.
And that's another reason, quite frankly.
I'm back, you guys.
Oh, thank you.
I have some things to report.
Tell us.
Okay, so I just took a step outside my door again. I'm in Cedar Lake. I'm well southeast of where this tornado is rolling through Crete. So when I take a look to my northwest, all I see is very dark skies. When I take a look, which makes sense because if you check out the radar, take a look east or southeast, I have sunshine. So we have sunny skies, just a few clouds, and then we have this potential tornado just northwest of where I'm located in Cedar Lake. And you were just saying it's the weekend, you're hoping people are inside. When I just took a step outdoors quickly to look at the sky, one of my neighbors hollered at me and said, "Are we in the clear, Caitlin?" So the story is people are going outside because we have these breaks in the storms, and it turns out to be really beautiful for a few moments. And then we have these dangerous thunderstorms rolling through. So I holler, no. So it is a good reminder that just because you have a break in the rain, that doesn't mean it's okay. That doesn't mean hit the road, because this is exactly, even one of my other neighbors, she said, I'm going to go get my kid who's in St. John, where this tornado is potentially heading right towards. This is why you have to communicate with your family and friends, because I told her, there's a tornado chance there. Don't go, because where you don't want to be stuck is on the road in your car when this tornado rolls through. So again, east of Crete, Willowbrook headed right towards you. St. John, get in your safe spot. Sherrillville, Dyer, Sauk Village, Linwood, Highland, Griffith, Lansing. All of you, make sure you have a plan in place for this tornado to roll on through. My goodness. And I'm telling you, these subdivisions, these communities are very busy, packed with kids. They want to get outside. It's a hot day, I get it, but we do, again, have this potentially dangerous tornado rotating and moving on towards that Indiana state line.
Yeah, just keeping a track here, the latest from the Weather Service. And they're talking about this severe thunderstorm, again, producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line winds. Damage was located over Limestone near Herscher, and again, moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So a brief update there.
Yeah, have you guys seen the dew point in Kankakee? It's 75. The dew point in Lansing is 76. This is, I don't think I've seen the dew points that high this year, and area wide it's 70 plus. Folks, please don't be mystified by dew points. The higher the number, the more humidity is in the air and the more buoyant the air is, meaning it wants to go up more readily. And this sort of environment is just rich in moisture, and that's one of the contributing factors to the intensity of the thunderstorms. And even where we don't have tornadoes, these just awful rainfall amounts. All right, do we have a new tornado warning in northern Kankakee County, Marky Mark?
We do now have a new one. It basically stretches from just about west central Kankakee right up to the Will County line, basically from the Indiana Will County line all the way across northern Indiana. So right there, cutting through Kankakee. Let me zoom in here to show you where that is located. And again, these are all lining up in just about a near perfect line, one tornado warning after another.
I can shout out a couple communities
this one
within
looks
that
like
warning.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Just southeast of Bonfield, north of Irwin. This is going to be west of Kankakee. The path here, even though in Bourbonnais, I can see you don't have much for rain right now, but it's headed right towards your direction. Also, Manteno, you have some rain, but there's some sun south of you. Don't put your guard down. You are included in this track as well. Grant Park. This rotation, I can see that we're having strong returns, so I know there's strong inbound wind into this storm system, and even a little bit of a rounding there of this, where you can see where that rotation would be. Again, this is just south of Bonfield and headed right towards Bourbonnais and Bradley and Kankakee. Are you guys seeing that?
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, looks like, and you can kind of get an idea, the way that particular tornado warning, the shape of it is kind of, telling. When you see this, you get an idea for where it is and the direction that it's moving. For the folks at home, when you see that, obviously where the tornado was centered, there's a very narrow part of the box, and then to account for possible shifts in movement as it continues to head off to the northeast, you get a wider top of that box. But definitely, Caitlin, you're right. It looks like some very strong inbound velocities right on the edge of that box, headed towards Bradley and Kankakee. I am seeing there 48 mile an hour inbound velocities. With that, and not the greatest looking couplet, at least in tilt one here that I'm looking at, but enough rotation in this environment to warrant that tornado warning. Take a look at the one over Willowbrook, you guys. To me, that looks like you still have some tremendous wind there, but it looks like the gate-to-gate shear has broken down just a little bit right at the state line.
Yeah.
Not because of the state line, but it looks like, at least on this scan, it's gotten a little bit less intense.
I will say I did just see a report coming in 3 miles east-southeast of Crete, so that would be exactly over Willowbrook, just about. A train spotter saw a rotating wall cloud. So I didn't see that there was actually a tornado from this spotter. And of course, this is just preliminary data, but so there may still be the potential for this wall cloud to drop another tornado if in fact it has lifted. But I do agree, Mike, that the velocity isn't showing as clear of a couplet as we had not too long ago. So this is going to be just west of St. John, headed northeast towards Dyer and Cherville, where over St. John, it's sunny right now. So they're in the same situation.
Amazing.
It looks beautiful, and they're probably wanting to go outside, but that tornado is right there pushing over that Illinois border over Willowbrook as we speak.
Yeah, and don't be fooled just because it's sunny outside. In fact, as Mike mentioned, with those dew points up into the middle 70s, I mean, that's just tropical moisture. And with the sunshine, that's just basically adding fuel to the fire here as we go through this late afternoon. And it won't be until a little later as we head towards the evening, we lose some of that daytime heating that will really be out of the clear at this point.
Yeah, agreed with you there, Mark. I would say that let's remind everybody that we still have this tornado watch, which is in effect for even the city of Chicago, DuPage County, until 7 o'clock. I really think that the Weather Service could probably yank those that northwestern flank of this out of the tornado watch. But I'm sure with ongoing tornadoes, the last thing they want to do is sound any kind of an all clear. But in my opinion, if you're watching now in Elmhurst, if you're watching in Morton Grove, if you're in Oak Park, this is, you may get a shower yet, but you're not in tornado weather. This stuff is really pretty much confined now to those areas that are, pretty much now well southeast of I-55 and becoming more of a, within a few miles of I-57 sort of a situation. And you can kind of see, like if you, Mark, if you can, maybe do like a zoomed out radar that even, goes out to show some of this stuff downstate. You can see there's been a little bit of an it's been slow. It's been
very
sluggish.
slow, yeah.
But there's been a little bit of an eastward migration of the main line, and it really is right on the front edge of this where we're getting these rotational components. Once you get to the west of where these warnings are, yes, it's raining hard, but it's the leading edge of this activity. That's the strike zone, so to speak, where folks need to be mindful. And just in the past hour or so, you can see there's a little bit of an eastward shift. What you can also see is, and maybe developing in the outflow from these, are some new thunderstorms that are popping up to the east of the main line. Some of this activity is headed toward Lowell right now, and then a little farther south going toward Morocco, and then Crescent City into Iroquois County. Almost looks like a secondary line of thunderstorms trying to form, and this goes all the way down towards Champaign-Urbana and Rantoul. This may be an area that suddenly explodes with some new thunderstorms ahead of what we've been identifying kind of as the show.
So basically what you're saying, Mike, is as this line of tornadic thunderstorms that we've been watching, as they push out this border of wind, they're actually forming new storms ahead of that, which create their own storm environment.
Right. Yeah, this is the gust front when these and look at that brand new severe thunderstorm warning just came out in that zone. This will be in effect for another 54 minutes. Southeastern Will, Kankakee, Ford, Iroquois, and even going into west central Newton County. The hazard here: 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts from this. This includes Kankakee, Bourbonnais, Bradley, Stager, Manteno, and then Piatone. Gosh, again, Moments, Herscher. So right in there, that this is no doubt. There's got to be an outflow boundary in there that's sparking these new storms.
We got some new information about that particular severe thunderstorm warning. So what I understand is that it's replacing where that tornado was, that tornado warning for Livingston and Ford, because that has expired. So as Mike was just mentioning, the main threat is going to be gusty winds where 70-mile-per-hour winds are possible. But we are also focusing on embedded areas of rotation within that warning area for the potential of brief tornadoes. So where we have that warning, that severe thunderstorm warning in place that took the spot of where we had that tornado warning, still winds up to 70 miles per hour, and watching for the potential of that severe thunderstorm to drop tornadoes within it.
Yeah, getting back to the outflow boundary that we were just talking about, thunderstorms gush out rain-cooled air out ahead of them, and that produces its own front, essentially. We call that a gust front, and it's often accompanied by a detectable radar signature, and it's a OFB, or outflow boundary. And in that area, right at that point, you have increased convergence at the surface where winds are coming together at the surface. The air can't go below ground, so what does it have to do? It has to go up. And you get that dynamic upward motion in the atmosphere that builds the new thunderstorms where you have enough saturation in place, and I think that's what's going on. It's still, Mark and Caitlin, there's still just a little bit of rotation left in that tornado-worn cell, nowhere near as clear-cut as it was before north of Schererville. This looks like it'll go right over Griffith here within about the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I was getting another report in from our storm chaser. He just said it's a bunch of short-lived funnels. So the storm outran him again, and he said he didn't see anything. So he's been tracking that particular cell that Mike was just mentioning. But I'm with you. I've been watching it closely as well. It looks like it's falling apart. Maybe the best chance for that tornado to be located just east of Dyer, northwest of Sherrillville, which means it would be headed right towards Griffith and Highland. I still see that couplet that they have that warning in place for, but you can see how small that tornado warning box has shrunk to. But I do think that it would be headed towards, if there is a tornado still associated with it, Highland and Griffith, and then eventually heading up towards locations like Gary or just southeast of East Chicago.
Yeah, you can see that box has been shaved down quite a bit there this afternoon with, again, the larger area of coverage down here in Kankakee County, stretching all the way from the southern border of Will County all the way just north of the city of Kankakee.
I can
Folks
hear
are
the sirens,
probably
they
wondering,
were
hey, when is it going to be safe to go outside? Obviously this depends on where you are. The worst of these storms should be moving out of Chicagoland by maybe 8 o'clock. But I'm just looking at, there may be a couple more showers, not this intense overnight. But tomorrow still, to me, looks like a much quieter day. A lot of folks have been under the gun between heavy rainfall and now this. For most of the week. I think tomorrow will be a day, hopefully, where we can kind of compose ourselves and maybe let some of the high waters recede and not have to deal with warnings.
And that's going to be important, too. I mean, we've been dealing with a lot of tornadic activity here this afternoon, but, again, we've mentioned about the heavy rainfall, but just for a day, for just area, the ground to desaturate, if you will, a little bit, for streams and rivers to draw down a little bit. Just a pause at this point would be a good thing. And ironically enough, there is still that severe drought up in the northern suburbs, up very close to the Wisconsin state line.
That's something that I did want to mention too, is just a shout out to our viewers. On Twitter, Mindy just said, I'm in Cedar Lake too. It feels good to have someone who knows the area reporting for us in Northwest Indiana. Well, between me, Mark, and Mike, we have the entire viewing area covered. Mark's out there in the western suburbs, southwestern suburbs. Mike's, of course, along that Cheddar Curtain, and I'm in Northwest Indiana. So these are our communities too, and we want to keep you safe. So I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in and watching us, and we're right here with you.
From a coverage standpoint, Mark, you and I are significantly older than our comrade there in Indiana. We go back a number of years when, issuing tornado warnings was really almost a mystic event. Mm-hmm. By the time you got a tornado warning out, this thing was done. Now, and I mentioned this the other night during one of my Facebook reports, the fact that there is such immediacy with social media, being able to share information, these storm chasers that are out there giving us ground confirmation that we're seeing immediately. Not only is that providing valuable information to meteorologists, whether it's the Weather Service, whether it's us in this business, but it's helping, I think, save lives. The ability to convey life-saving information as quickly and efficiently as this, I think has been a huge advancement in our industry, really exponentially so, like about the past 5 years or so. Mark, don't mean any disrespect to you, Caitlin, but I mean, Mark, do you agree?
No, there is absolutely no doubt about that. In fact, Mike, you and I have talked about this, just the advancement in the technology. And now you bring all the social media and you basically have eyes virtually everywhere, folks that, can give you pretty quick access to, information, what happened in their neighborhood after the storm moves out. I mean, it's really a cooperative, collaborative event in terms of information gathering, and again, very much a two-way street. So we're able to get that information out to them, and again, really do our jobs more effectively, which does come right down to saving lives.
I did want to say,
you notice that
speaking of getting
rotation has gotten a little bit tighter in near Griffith.
Yes, but I also wanted to take you down to Kankakee because we had reports of straight line wind damage over Bourbonnais. So where we have that tornado warning, the squall line here, that line of storms as we mentioned before, because we have that severe thunderstorm warning in place, which is possible to drop tornadoes along with it, we have now extensive straight line wind damage, and this was over Bourbonnais. And this particular part of this storm, this segment, is moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So over Bourbonnais, heading northeast towards Grant Park in moments.
And those straight line winds would be pretty much indicative of what you were talking about, those very strong outflow boundaries from these storms, Mike.
I'm sorry,
Right
Mark,
over
did you ask me
Griffith,
something?
No, we were just
right over Griffith. Yeah,
we were just talking about how again with these straight line winds being a product of those thunderstorms and this line of thunderstorms kind of growing. It's almost like the next generation of storms that it's forcing
You know
up.
what's interesting is it looks like that tornado warning has expired, even though we're seeing that couplet come together stronger over Griffith. They just got rid of that tornado warning, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah, like 2 minutes premature. They let it go prior to its 5 p.m. expiration time. But yeah, you're right. This is definitely tightened up a little bit. If you're in Griffith and then maybe even the south side of Gary here, don't turn your back on this thing. This because it's weakened before doesn't mean it can't strengthen up. I'm even looking at some of the outbound velocities near Schererville. This is still a rotating storm there, as is the one near Bourbonnais. A nice little couplet there northeast of Bourbonnais now. So that's our only tornado warning currently in the Chicago area is the one there in Kankakee County, and we've told you about the one that's a little bit farther to the south, coming out of Livingston County and Ford County. But yeah, do not ignore this cell near Griffith.
Yeah, still packing some powerful winds. There's some heavy downpours, and again with that rotation, that is very good advice.
I'm trying to check in with some of our spotters, and I think they're all just getting frustrated because what they want is that shot of the funnel cloud, but because of the amount of rain and all of these storms being rain wrapped, it's nearly impossible to see what's happening at ground level at this point with these storms.
Caitlin, do you have Bertha, one of our fine directors, lives in Griffith? Do you have her any way that you could text her or something? And I don't have. I could Facebook Messenger her, but it's okay. All right. Did she say what's going on there in Griffith, or she just went? Okay.
You know, I'm getting reports I'm getting reports out of Schererville from another one of our colleagues, Aaron. He sent me a picture. He said it's black over us. He's looking towards St. John. He's between Schererville and Crown Point. He said it's interesting because we get these rounds of rain that are downpours for 30 seconds and then nothing, which makes sense because, again, we're having these storms go through and then you get sunshine. And he just sent me another picture. He goes, the next front coming in over Schererville. So, again, he's seeing what I saw when I looked out of my door to the northwest. It's just black clouds. Dark clouds in place, but Bertha, yep, she's in the basement. I've been texting friends in Munster. We do it too, and that's why we tell you to do it at home, because if you have a friend or family member that lives in a certain location, you want to give them a heads up in case they don't know what's headed their way. If you're tuned in, which is great, this is what we want you to do, it's important to tell your friends and family. And just to go back to that tornado warning that you're seeing up on the map there, this rotation is northeast of Bourbonnais. It's going to be south of Manteno. So this is going to be our main focus currently. Its direction is to the northeast, and unfortunately, it looks like it could be heading again up towards Piatone, up towards Beecher, perhaps crossing over that Indiana state line right in my neighborhood. But we'll see if this couplet holds together. Right now, I am seeing on the velocity data a pretty clear signature, the green and red of those winds coming together. And as I zoom out, I don't see it weakening. In fact, it's probably moving into some unstable air out in Grant Park, where you have sunshine now, and it's still warm and it's humid. We have that moisture in the air there.
And by Grant Park, we're not talking about the one in the city. This is the one there in far eastern Kankakee County. Yeah, people sometimes get confused. They don't. Oh, you mean there's another Grant Park besides the one where we have all the concerts? But
right,
yes,
yeah.
there is. And I have a good friend who is there and gives me a lot of weather reports in Grant Park. So hopefully Pat will be watching this and sharing his information with me there in Grant Park, because almost certainly there's going to be some very strong winds in that area, maybe as far south as Momence. And again, as you mentioned, Caitlin and Mark, this is going over the same areas that have been creamed repeatedly today. You know, in Beecher, get ready, here you go again. You know, maybe not tornadic. In Piatone, you got very heavy rain, maybe not tornadic now, but this is relentless. But, you know, I'm beginning to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel, slowly moving to the east. You know, you get to Joliet, I can't envision you're going to have tornadic weather anymore tonight. In Gardner, if you're in Grundy County, yeah, it's raining now, but you're not getting a tornado out of this. If you're in Oak Lawn, it's not tornado for you. So I think there's some areas west of this main, the eastern line that I think, you know, you're pretty much safe for the rest of the night from any tornadic threat, even though technically the tornado watch remains in effect until 7 o'clock. But I keep looking at these new things popping up. Look at in Newton County now, near Roselawn. Some new thunderstorms popping there. And, you know, a lot of these are really at the far southern end of the Fox 32 family there. But I know some of you are picking us up. You got us on the bird, or somehow you're watching us. And that area may move into parts of northwest Indiana here in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, this is still going to be a very active environment as we take you through, like as you mentioned, the next couple of hours as we approach sunset and maybe even a little bit beyond, especially over here in northwest Indiana, especially south of the Kankakee River, along the Kankakee River Valley, because this line of thunderstorms really that we've had all afternoon long has shifted very, very little. I mean, it was right along Interstate 55 right here earlier, and it's gone, you know, just a few miles off to the east, and that's been about it so far. So, you know,
it's really unfortunate. I just got another report from one of our other colleagues, Lisa Sharmat. I'm sure she's listening to us. She's in Munster. She says it's pouring buckets outside, which she sent me this video, and it is. It's the kind of rain that you can't drive through, you can't see clearly. And this is the problem. And typically we call this training of storms if they develop in the line of the same storms. But really, this is just a slow-moving line of storms in the same direction. So we're getting these dumped on. This rain is just pouring buckets in locations like Munster, so Lake County, Will County, Kankakee County, and it's not ending. And this is the problem. This is how we pick up so much rainfall and why we're going to have standing water in those flood-prone zones. Expect it. If you're going to be out on the roads, you turn around. Don't try to go through the standing water because you don't know how deep that water is and you may get stuck. It's a mess out there.
I'm sure we're going to see many areas here that are in the 4 or 5. And, you know, I saw both of you guys point this out this week, that there were some areas where some of the forecast models had pinpointed up to 5 and 6 inches of rainfall. And when you see an event like this.
And they've been realized.
Right.
Yeah, and those numbers have been realized. The way that the rainfall has kind of played out, interestingly enough, because I think folks know my preference for the European model in situations like this, very close to what the GFS had indicated, which was lesser amounts north and heavier amounts south of Chicago, which is more or less following the way that it's been all spring and summer long. But, you know, to your point, the numbers have been monster all week long for rainfall this week. There were going to be pockets that had at least a half foot of rain, and those have definitely happened. And in some cases, I got a friend who's in the Flossmoor area. He had 5 inches of rain today. Yeah. So this is no wonder why, you know, much of Chicagoland's under a flood warning.
And what do you do with 5 inches? I mean, 5 inches is almost impossible to handle in the modern world. You basically have, you know, drain pipes overflowing. You know, we had some reports of manhole covers actually popping off earlier today around the region. 5 inches coming down in a very short period, in a matter of a few hours. From an engineering standpoint, it's just very difficult to handle, to do anything with it.
Yeah. I was wondering,
right.
could we zoom in
Yeah.
on where this tornado warning is located? I'm seeing two different couplets. It's not very clear to me. Maybe it's the one that's south of Manteno, just to give people an update of where there could potentially be a tornado on the ground within this warning.
Let's
Maybe
zoom
Yeah,
in
I think
here.
you're
At that
looking. I
velocity.
think Caitlin, if you go between Manteno and Grant Park, I see what you're looking at there, and this may be. To me, it looks like the rotation has become a little bit more broad and diffuse in that area. But you know, I definitely you've got rotation for sure going on there. It's not as tight as it was before when the warning was issued.
It looks like they just expired it. They just got rid of that tornado warning. So that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so that couplet was falling apart.
Yeah.
Let me see, I have another report here. Okay, so basically what's going on now is the National Weather Service, as well as us, we're going to see these little inflow notches along the front end edge of this line of storms where we could potentially see more rotation and quick spin up of tornadoes. As of right now, though, zooming on out, I'm not seeing any tornado warnings along the line.
So you're talking about a little further into Indiana at this point, is that correct? The little where the outflow of the main storms are causing more?
I think just along this whole line, we're going to keep an eye on it because we no longer have a tornado warning in effect along this line anymore. Of course, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning. So moving forward, yeah, the squall line moving east of I-57. So we're going to watch for any little notches or inflow jets to see if we get any more sustained rotation.
Well, Mike Kaplan, to steal one of your phrases, this is not a storm system you want to turn your back on.
No, sir. No, sir. But I guess we'll hit the road now, and if we get another tornado warning, come back on for some more wall-to-wall. Let's hope maybe we're done for the evening, right?
Yeah, with a little good luck. And at either rate, we will have full storm coverage coming up after the game tonight. And again, if anything should break loose as we go through the rest of the afternoon or the evening here, we've got the team in place and we've got you covered. So keep it right here at Fox 32.
All right, Mark. How are we looking? Think we're clear for a while, or?
I'm hoping so.
Okay.
Smoke them if you got them, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'll be here, so if you need us, let us know.